Welcome, welcome to the Circle of Truth. I'm T.W. Hawk. The T is for truth. So this is my circle, but it's very much yours as well. So we're going to do an experiment today. I'm working here with two cameras. So we'll see what a little change in perspective does for us every now and again. And I'd also like to share a piece that I'm going to read from my book called The Same Boat, and it's from this book right here, How to Succeed on Purpose. So I wrote this book. It was published at the end of last year, and I've been speaking about it and promoting and and doing all kinds of fun stuff with it. So it's been the leaping off point for meditations that I'm guiding here in the Circle of Truth, inspirational talks, seminars, webinars, trainings, learning journeys. So, and they're around success and abundance, tuning into our own intuitive self, intuitive leadership, letting our hearts guide us. Everything is about, the foundation of my work is about guiding you to your own inner wisdom. You have the answers. You have an infinite, intuitive, very deep wisdom within you. All of the answers to the questions and challenges and problems that you confront in life are there. And all we have to do is go within. So I have abundant tools to help you to do that. And that's what I hope to share with you is through the Circle of Truth, is to share the abundant tools that lead you to your own inner wisdom, so you can access it, so you can come to your own conclusions and heed your own direction. So it's about tuning into your inner voice, and I say, like Horton hears a who. He's the elephant that hears the tiny little who on the teeny little flower. Well, when Horton hears that who, he can't unhear it. And that's like our inner voice. Once we can identify it and tune in with it, we begin to recognize it, and it never goes away. It's always communicating to us, and we just need to be in a state of being where we can attune to it. And the first step is to listen. So we have to give our inner voice a megaphone. You know, when they make announcements on movie sets, or, is this thing on? Is this thing on? Yeah. Give our inner voice a megaphone. And in so doing, we're able to hear it more clearly and distinguish it from the other mind chatter that might be going on. But then that's just step one. The next step, and the most important step, is to heed it. First we hear it, then we heed it. And in order to heed it, we need to trust the guidance of our inner wisdom and know that our inner voice has our best interests at heart. Our inner voice is our best friend. It's our trusty co-pilot through life. Where we go, our inner voice is leading, and if we don't listen to it, it's along for the ride anyway. So if you were the passenger or the co-pilot, constantly trying to urge the pilot to make the best sense of direction and make the best turns for the smoothest path forward and the most scenic view, sometimes the pilot ignores you and takes an alternate course. But what does your inner voice do? It doesn't cross its arms and say, well, that's it. You didn't take my advice last time. I'm not giving any more. No, our inner voice is always there to guide us, even if we steer wrongly or steer ourselves into predicaments or pickles or dead ends or cul-de-sacs or get lost along the way. The inner voice is there like a faithful navigator to guide us back to our own inner wisdom, to our own best path forward. And in doing so, we can really enjoy the view and just trust, if we listen to our navigator, that it has our best interests at heart, because it does. It's not even about the what we think is best. It has the optimal directions, the most scenic route, the path of least resistance. All of these things it guides us to without us being conscious of it. And all we need to do is trust. We just need to trust. And how do we cultivate that trust? That's part of the learning journey that I want to share with you, because it's really about self-trust and inner trust, not trust in something outside of us, but trusting the spirit, the divine forces within us, and that's about communicating with our heart, which can also be synonymous for our inner voice. We can hear our inner voice from other areas, from our gut, from other areas of our being, but the inner voice is our heart's guidance as well, our intuitive heart guidance. And our heart is a service instrument. So it serves the body, it serves all functions of the body at all times. It's always pumping from our first, almost the moment of conception, until our very last breath when we expire. And all the heart asks is for us to serve it, so that it can serve us. And when we make decisions that serve our hearts, it serves the totality of our being, because the place from which we decide will give rise to the same kind of vibe. So when we make a decision from the heart, it serves all of us, not just mind, not just loins, not just our gut, not just our physicality, but the totality of our being. It's a holistic giving and receiving. Now, we can make decisions from the head, where we calculate the right choice, the best path forward, and we do it through thought. But that's going to serve our minds, our brains. So our decision, in the wake of it, once we've made it, will give us lots to think about and contemplate and mull over and go back over. When we make a decision, say, from our loins for our sex, that organ may be served quite well, in fact. But chances are our intuitive guidance may not have been leading us to that decision, and we can overrule it with our sex organs, for example, and serve the vibration of the sexuality within us. And that may be very rewarding, but there might be heartbreak on the other end of it. We've all been there. And if we listen to our guts and we say are craving something to eat that our intuition is saying better not to eat, that bowl of ice cream or that jar of cookies or those chips or, I don't know, something that we might later get food poisoning from, like some bad sushi, where we had an intuition, but we served our tummies. And in the interim, it was satisfying, and we were maybe sated, but then we paid a price for it. And these are the kinds of decisions, depending on from the place we decide, that is the part of ourselves which will be served by that decision. So I want to bring that to your attention, something to contemplate and see if that resonates as truth for you. Nothing that I say is definitive truth. There are 7.7 billion people on Earth, and each of them have their own human version of truth. So just on the human level, there are 7.5 billion versions of truth, of human truth. And that's not animal truth, cat wisdom, monkey medicine, or anything else. That's just human truth. So who am I to deny your truth? And who are you to deny your own truth for yourself? Because that's the only truth that one can live by. If you're not living by your own truth, then you're just living by somebody else's truth, if they're even attuned to that truth for themselves. And chances are they're not, because they haven't taken my workshop. So the best way to live our lives for the optimal unfolding and our most abundant and surprising and rewarding existence is to follow our own inner guidance, our own personal navigator that has our best interests at heart and never leads us astray. If we tune into our hearts, our inner voice, and we follow its guidance, it never does the bum steer. Unlike some friends playing a joke where they're like, na 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 na, I told you to do this, or I suggested you do that, and it was actually a bad decision, ha ha. Our inner voice doesn't do that. Our inner voice always wants the best for us, seeks the best for us, delivers the best for us, because it's along for the ride. And if you are the co-pilot or the navigator or the passenger, and the best you could do is just gently nudge someone in the optimal direction so that you could also enjoy the best journey. And that's our inner voice. So now I'm going to read an excerpt from my book, and I'm going to put the page on screen so you can read along with me if you like. It's called How to Succeed on Purpose. It's The Same Boat. I'm going to turn down the music here for a second. Where are we? Hello. Okay. So, let's see. Little technical stuff because I'm playing with this, but let's see here. Let's do this. Solar fields. Little frustrating. I'm a little frustrated. Solar fields. Okay. This is Solar Fields Reborn. It's a track I like quite a bit. Okay. How to Succeed on Purpose. And okay. Modern Wisdom and Inspirational Truth for Succeeding Each Day of Your Life by T.W. Hawk. That's me. And Light Reads is my publishing company. Okay. The Same Boat. It's a human imperative to know that we are not solo sailors, that we're not crewing the craft alone, that we're not solitary passengers. It's comforting, reassuring, and life-affirming to know that there are others with us in the same boat. Especially in times of difficulty, when the going gets tough, when we deal with the infinite tests that mark our existence as human beings, as when we step to challenge, face crises, confront our fears, lick our wounds, mourn, fall back, retreat, or evacuate. The same boat is how we rally support to charge ahead, connecting with others who feel the same way at the same time, who experience our same pain, heartbreak, fear, or uncertainty. That makes all the difference. Whether fire, famine, or flood, volcano, earthquake, or hurricane, act of terror, act of war, or act of God, whether awash in tides of sorrow or drowning in tsunami tides, while facing the shock of tragedy, collective sorrow, guilt, remorse, or shame. Very apropos for everything we're going through with the coronavirus right now globally. We must know that we're not alone, not bereft of companionship and community. We need compatriots who endure the same hardships, tackle the same challenges, handle the same disappointments, confusion, indecision, cope with the same grief, loss, or uncertainty. No one wants to be the man overboard. When we see someone tossed into the drink, we throw him a life preserver. We reel that castaway in. Call it support, call it community, call it solidarity. But a flailing swimmer needs a rescue vessel, especially when facing the unknown. Finding ourselves in the same boat galvanizes us, lifts us up, makes us feel better about what we're feeling, especially when we don't know what to do, how to plot our next move. Hello. How to prepare ourselves, brace ourselves, embolden ourselves. We must we muster metal. We muster metal through mutuality. We coalesce confidence through camaraderie. We chart a course, we trim the sheets, we catch a wind that fills our sails when we realize we are not alone. That we're paddling, sailing, gliding, rowing, puttering, crewing, helming, similar ships, common crafts, identical vessels. In other words, the same boat. Shipmates bolster courage. Courage begets hope. Hope is buoyant. It helps us rise. And that's why hope can float the boat. I'll say that end again because it's got a little cadence for the end of our maritime metaphor. Shipmates bolster courage. Courage begets hope. Hope is buoyant. It helps us rise. And that's why hope can float the boat. And the truth serum that encapsulates this chapter is, when we find others in the same boat, it lifts spirits, fills sails, and raises hopes, which keeps the boat afloat. Well, thank you for listening and allowing me to share that bit of my book with you. How to Succeed on Purpose. This is available on Amazon. It's not yet a Kindle book. It will be. It's not yet an audio book. It will be. But I just read you what will be the audio book. So that's what it's going to sound like. So if you like my voice, then you'll have an opportunity to listen to it, reading each and every chapter and Truth Serum to you. Beyond that, you can order it on Amazon in the United States, in the UK, in Germany, in the Netherlands, in France. I don't believe it's yet available in India. I'm not sure Amazon India, where they source their things, but I'm interested in investigating that. If you have any clues, or there are other places where the book should be sold, it's also in about a dozen locations in Amsterdam and on the coast of California, at like 5 or 6 places in Big Sur and Southern Cal and the Central Coast. So, yeah, people have really responded to it. And I think they've said it's life-changing and a little spiritual masterpiece. It was also selected by Silicon Canals here in Europe as one of the top business books every entrepreneur and startup founder should read. So it's not just soft spiritual stuff. It's actually something you can use for your own personal development, which I liken to business development. Personal development begets business development. You cannot have one without the other. So when we develop ourselves, we develop our business. And better if those two are aligned and integrated. Developing our business without developing ourselves, eventually the self will flounder. And not in a good way, not as a startup founder, but the self will break down, and then the business will break down. So by keeping ourselves developed and in the height of our power and skills and presence, we can spin that gold in our business and any activity we focus on. So business, family, community, spiritual community, wherever it might be, self-development is business development. How to succeed on purpose. This is a good message. This is a circle of truth. This is a Buddha with prayer hands, with fingers on the heart. Let's live from our hearts, tune into our inner wisdom, share our purpose, define success for ourselves, align with our own truth so that we can design our optimal lives. I'm T.W. Hawk. This is Circle of Truth. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.